Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'm going to show you how to make the best chicken and dumplings you've ever had in your life, starting with a fresh chicken. Alright, now that chicken's been butchered, we're going to cook it low and slow in the crock pot for about 4 or 5 hours and might add a couple quarts of water. Alright, it's been cooking all day. You can see it's falling off the bone. Now I'm going to let it cool, pick the meat off the bones. And this chicken stock is going to be used for the gravy for the chicken and dumplings. Alright, I'm just pulling by hand the chicken off of the carcass that I processed earlier before, and in just a minute I'm going to go ahead and chop it up into smaller pieces. Well, we're going to go ahead and cut all of this chicken meat, white and dark, up into small, little, bite-sized pieces. To go along with the chicken and dumplings, I'm going to need a couple carrots, so let's see, these need thinning anyway. Let me grab this one right here. There we go, that's a nice little looking carrot. And how about this one? Ooh, it's a fat one. Okay, we also want some onions. These are green onions. Been growing all winter. Get a couple of those, especially the ones that are bent over. And go ahead and add these to the pot. Alright, I'm going to dice up some actual onion, just to really get a flavor explosion going on. Alright, I'm going to dice up some onions. Nothing too fancy. You want it kind of rustic, like Grandma used to make. Saute these. Alright, I usually saute these to caramelize them, so you want them to get a little brown in some olive oil. And then when they get to this stage, you're going to add about 2 quarts of your chicken stock. Now I'm going to dice up these carrots that I just picked. Doesn't get any fresher than that, right? Alright, now the deer, he's going to love eating these. If not him, then the goats. And I'm actually going to go ahead and peel these. I usually don't, but let's go ahead and peel them. I want to add these diced carrots to the stock with the onions. Okay, so without measuring anything, you want maybe 2 tablespoons of salt. I do a little bit of crushed red pepper. This is red pepper that I grew last year. Now I'm going to cheat and I'm going to use some garlic powder. Healthy dose of that. And then a couple bay leaves. This is red bay from our property. Then you want some crushed black pepper. I like a lot of crushed black pepper in this. And then those green onions. Let me show you a trick about green onions and a lot of other stuff in the kitchen. Just use some scissors instead of dicing them on the cutting board. Alright, now I'm adding that diced up chicken to the stock with the carrots and the onion. Now's the time to make the dumplings. So let's see, we're going to do a couple cups of flour. Okay, so here's 1, here's 2. I'm really not good about measurements, so just bear with me. I'm going to do a little bit of some salt, I don't know, maybe about a teaspoon. And then baking powder. Now, the more baking powder you use, the puffier your dumplings are going to be. So, I don't know, maybe a teaspoon. And then, maybe about this much butter. What's that, about 2 tablespoons? Okay, so we're going to kind of cut that in. Cut the butter in, make it into little chunks. There we go. Kind of mix it in. And then I'm going to add goat milk that I just got this morning from the goats. Maybe about, not quite a cup, so let's see, about that much. Now, again, you can write down recipes, but it's sort of like the old grandma's biscuits. It's really about in how the dough feels. So we want the dough to come together. You see, I'm just using a spatula here, a silicone spatula to work it together. And if you can roll it out with a rolling pin, it's pretty much good to go. Okay, so now I can get my hands in here, and it feels pretty good. Okay, so it's starting to clump together. I think that's a good sign. Push it down with your hand, and there's no rhyme or reason really to this. You're just trying to make some basic dumpling dough. I like a clean dough, and what I mean by that is I like it to actually get all the flour off the sides of the pan without being too sticky. There's a lot of manipulation here, a lot of working it, and we're gonna roll it out here in just a moment. Okay, dust the surface pretty generously. In fact, I'm gonna do a little bit more. There we go, just kind of roll it around. And now here's my dough ball. Just working it, working the butter through, working all those ingredients through. It's a little bit wet in the middle, but as we work it, it'll become more and more doughy as you know it. And again, this is a good exercise, right? All right, it's all about just the feel of the dough. So you want to keep working more flour in if it's feeling too sticky, if it's feeling too wet. If it's too dry, you could add a little bit more water or a little more milk. All right, here's our dumpling dough. Just been kneaded for a few minutes. I'm just gonna try to spread it out. I finally used the rolling pin on it. Okay, I'm gonna try to get it out maybe to about 1/8 of an inch thick in all directions. Flip it over, make sure that it's not sticking to the countertop. Doesn't matter what shape it is. Again, rustic is kind of the key here. All right, I've rolled it out to a uniform thickness. You see how irregular shape this is, but that's kind of the fun. Now, I like to use a pizza cutter. Again, there's really no particular pattern here. We're just trying to make some basic dumplings to stick in that pot. And now we're gonna make these into little squares, roughly. And you don't have to be perfect with this. It's like a Bob Ross painting video. Make some happy little dumplings. I'm really not letting these dry like a noodle. We're just gonna put them directly into the broth in just a minute. So we're gonna add these dumplings in here. And the flour, the excess flour that's on these, is actually gonna thicken it into a gravy. You don't want them to clump together, so you kind of want to make sure that they're going into the pot separately. All right, I'm bringing it to a vigorous boil, and I'm just stirring and stirring and stirring until all that flour starts to make a nice thick gravy. All right, it's been simmering for a few minutes, and now we're ready to go ahead and enjoy some of this chicken and dumplings, all homemade from scratch.